imagination?
You don't think we're alone, do you?
Do you?
When you hear that the government is doing something, you always believe it, don't you? We are your third eye. This is Chasing Prophecy. Challenging your beliefs and pushing the boundaries of your imagination. If it's unexplained, we're talking about it. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, we cover everything from political mayhem and tyranny to alien abductions and paranormal phenomena.
You are not alone.
This is the Chasing Prophecy radio program. And now your hosts, Jenny Nicasio and Sean Kelly.
Welcome, everybody. This is Sean Kelly. Jenny Nicasio is off tonight. Welcome to Chasing Prophecy on 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi. And tonight we have a great show. All the crap that's been going on TikTok and through the travel channel and all that stuff, you've seen all these TV shows are getting canceled. Okay. And so I brought in my panel. Okay. People who are paranormal investigators. I got Tara, Eric, Drake, and who are we missing? Is that it? Oh, Michael. Where'd Michael go? And Michael, I don't know where he went, but I just want to welcome everybody to the show. But we have a guest tonight. Jenny just told me this afternoon, but her name is June Lundgren. She is a psychic medium, demon seer, healer, animal communicator, international author, and nurse. She is a descendant from a long line of women in psychic and spiritual gifts. Raised by her grandmother, she communicated with spirits, animals, and angels. She is called a demon seer because she can see, hear, communicate, and has the ability to remove and destroy negative entities. She has been helping people with their paranormal problems, animal issues, most of her life. Welcome, June. How are you today?
I'm good. It's my day off. I'm good.
It's your day off? You want to tell everybody about yourself?
I've had abilities all my life, psychic abilities all my life. Was raised by my maternal grandparents, and my grandmother was a psychic medium. And she knew that the moment that she got me that I had abilities and that I could speak with animals, because the animals would come. My grandparents lived on a farm. The animals would come and sit under my crib, or out if I was outside, they would come to me at the fences and things like that. But she also remembered a prophecy in the family, because the legacy of abilities is handed down from female to female in our family. And she remembered a 14th century prophecy in the family that said a female child will be born with the ability to see, hear, speak, communicate, and remove demons. And she said she knew the minute she saw me that I was the fulfillment of that prophecy. And it didn't hurt any that Michael the Archangel came with me. He was there. Then he's still here. He's there the entire time I was a child growing up. And my grandmother, he spoke with my grandmother quite often. I spent 5 years in the military, 2 in the Army, 3 in the Air Force. I did do some work when I was in there with my abilities, but I got stuck at a SAC base. You know what that means? Strategic Air Command. It's like you can't breathe wrong without them hearing you.
Yeah,
So
it's just like living in a hotel, really.
yeah, so I just kind of did it on the side to help people out. And I got out in 81 and I started helping more and more people. I died in a motorcycle accident in 1988. I was riding my bike on the way to my future husband's, and a lady ran a red light and hit me. So I was clinically dead for 2 minutes. When I went to the other side, my grandparents were there, Michael was there, and he said, "You're here because you need to understand your job in this world, and you're here to understand who and what resides within you." And he says, "Do you know who you are?" I said, "Yeah, I'm me." And he's like, "Yeah, but not quite." He said, "Your soul, your body was created to hold the soul of Ariel, the archangel. She's a demon slayer." And then he touched my forehead, and I relived all of her lifetimes. All her, this is number 131, back to 1198 AD when she first incarnated.
Okay.
And he showed me the reason for her incarnation was basically to punish her. She had been called, there was a woman that summoned a demon and it took possession of her, and she called for help, and God sent Ariel down. And basically, she told them, "Stupid woman, you summon this demon, then you seek help from us." And she reached in and pulled the demon out of her physical body, and the body died and was released into the light. But God was mad about that. He said, "You have no compassion for mankind. You have no thought." He says, "It's time you went back and lived physical world lives so you could understand." And so that's when she first incarnated. First,
Okay.
first 5 lives were kind of sketchy
Okay.
because they're not used to the amount of emotion that you get in a physical body. But people say that when she comes forward, their physical manifestations, they see, wings coming out of my shoulders, my eyes turn white, my face changes, and my voice changes. And the first time somebody told, I always knew when I did removals, people looked at me funny, but I never thought about it. And then I came across one client and she said, "Hey, did you know this is what we see?" And I said, "No." I said, A, I'm too busy removing the demon, and B, I don't have a mirror. And C, I don't care.
Hmm.
But I've been doing that for a long time, since 1986.
1986. Drake,
Yeah.
do you have anything to say?
Yeah, as soon as I can get my microphone working.
Uh-oh.
I'm intrigued. I've never heard of any kind of an experience like that. That's pretty wild. I've been studying magic and Wicca for better part of 20 years, and that's the first I've heard of a demon slayer. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, there are actually 5 of them. They're called the Legion of Light.
Right.
It was created by God before the war between heaven and hell, which it wasn't hell at that time. But it's comprised of Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Ariel. They are the elite demon slayers. They are the ones that train the warrior angels. They handpick them and train them one on one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. We're gonna have to put our heads together sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been studying demonology for better part of a year and a half now.
Hmm.
Actually, achieved the um, certification to go in and perform exorcisms and whatnot, if indeed it's really a demon. But
Hmm.
you know, and I'm not going to try to cast any shadow on you or any doubt on what you do. But from my experience, and I can think Eric might even be able to back me up. Only 2% of all paranormal activity is demon related
Oh,
or
yeah.
even involved.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Um, so there's a certain personality on television. I won't mention names.
We'll talk
But
about that later.
we'll talk about that later. But you have every single episode. Oh, it's a demon, or it's a witch, or it's
Oh, yeah.
Satanist, and this that, and the other, and he's full of crap. Just my opinion.
Well,
That
that's
explains
what
posture.
I try to tell people, 99.9% of investigations, everybody says, "Oh, there's a demon there. There's this. There's that," and half the time it's grandma or grandpa.
Yeah, yeah,
So
and I love
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
love cases like that.
I know
I
it's.
love cases like that.
I
See,
don't.
I blame the TV shows. I
Oh
blame
yeah.
the movies. You
100%.
know, I blame it all. I remember the one movie I saw, The Woman in Black, right? Right after that movie came out, the next day I got about 30 emails saying they saw a woman in black. You know what I mean? So it's like, Michael, do you have anything to share?
I know this story so far. I'm following it. Letting my brain work a little bit. Actually have a lot of homework that I've done on things that were described of the five angels and Michael and so forth. I want to ask you though, you know, I believe you said for 10 minutes you were dead, correct?
2 minutes. Yeah,
Oh, I'm
it's
sorry, 2 minutes.
clinically dead.
I had a
Yeah.
little bit of an echo as you were that was being presented. I apologize for that. I just want to know what your experience was like in that room.
It was kind of interesting because you read about and all this about tunnel of light or a beam of light or whatever,
Exactly.
and there was a tunnel of light. My grandparents were at the end of the tunnel, and they told me, you're not staying here. This is not your time. And I'm like, I know it's not. And that's when Michael spoke from behind them. And if you're the only way to, the human brain is only equipped to, you know, be able to translate things from what it sees, because this is a place of all energy, pure energy, different types of complex energy. So everyone is actually complex energy on the other side. But what it looked like was, there were clouds everywhere. There was no floor, there was no ceiling. And Michael took my hand and we went over, walked a couple of steps, and he said, look into the window. And a bay window appeared out of nowhere. And so I looked. He said, you see, everybody had a string leading from their crown chakra up to where we were. And he said, you see the ones that are lit up? And I'm like, yeah. And he says, those are the ones who've made the soul connection. The ones that are dark and unlit are the ones that have yet to make that soul connection or are still asleep. And I'm like, okay. And then we walked another few feet and he waved his arm and that opened up a big black chasm. And there were things reaching out of it and there were horrible screams. Because I asked him, I said, well, if heaven exists, what about hell? And so that's when he showed me. And then he waved his arm and it disappeared. And I'm like, okay, I get it. There's one, they both exist. Okay, I get it. And he says, you have to understand who and what you are and what you should be doing. And I said, well, I think I'm a nurse and I think I help people that way. So I'm doing God's work in that way. And he said, no, he said, you don't understand. And he says, look upon yourself. And I'm like, I don't have a mirror. And suddenly a mirror appeared. And I'm thinking to myself, what? And then he's like, I look at the mirror and I look like him. I'm like 7 feet tall, have a 12-foot wingspan. I have dark reddish hair that goes down to my waist, but flowing in every direction. And my eyes are blue green and they're like really intense. He says, this is who you truly are. He says, you're Ariel the Archangel. Because she is a demon slayer and you will start doing the work in the physical world. And he says, you need to go back now. It's not your time. And I'm like, next thing I know, I'm waking up with the cops standing over me, like looking very relieved that I'm alive. Because a woman ran a red light and hit me on my motorcycle. So it's like, oh, okay. And a lot of people don't remember what they saw on the other side. I remember everything. It's almost like when you go there, I get this it's like I'm a hard drive and I get all this information downloaded into my brain. And it's the only way to understand it is that Ariel's soul is split into two pieces, the piece that's within me and the piece that's on the other side. so she can be in more places at the same time, you know. But it's easier that way. And at first, I wasn't making a very good connection with her. And then Michael says, we need to do the merge. And I'm like, what is that? And he's like, it's quite simple. He says, what I do is I merge the soul consciousness with the physical consciousness. So that way you can see what she sees, hear what she hears, and know what she knows. And I said, is it going to hurt? And he's like, no, it's not going to hurt. So he had told me to lay down. It just took a few minutes, and it was interesting because I saw all of these images, and then I could hear her. And as I was looking, opened my eyes and looked around, instead of seeing physical objects, I saw the energy from them. And the energy from the tree outside, the energy from the house, energy from the floor. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And Michael popped in and said, you're seeing through the eyes of an angel. He says, that's why you see demons in their pure form, their true form. Because up until I was about 4.5, I saw them like every other human did. I saw, a black mass or, a shadow person, that type of thing. And after that, when I was between 4 and 5 years of age, I saw them in their true form. And they're similar in build to archangels. They're about 7 feet tall, 12-foot wingspan, but they're not white. They're shades of gray and black. And the eyes are what gets you. There are no features in the face whatsoever except the eyes. And on the old demons, the eyes are golden. And on the younger demons, the lesser demons and the minions, they're red. But when you look into their eyes, you see every evil you can imagine and more, 100,000 times more. It's something you never forget. It's something, that will live with you forever. And I've been seeing that since I was 4.5 or 5. So
Awesome.
I'm so used to it, I don't pay no attention anymore.
Well,
I that would explain something that I've seen at the House of Wills.
Mhm.
I was there with Lantern Paranormal. Good Lord, it has to be 5, 6 years ago. But when we walked in, we saw a pair of red eyes up at the top of the stairs.
Mhm.
And I don't know how many other people are familiar with the House of Wills or the owner. But just that kind of unnerved me.
Yeah, it has a tendency to do that.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
So if what you're saying is true, then what we were seeing would have been a lesser demon or an
Yeah.
imp.
Yeah.
But he was decent sized. That
Oh,
much I do
the
remember.
lesser demons are decent size, but
Yeah.
what you call what used to be called an imp, I call a creepy crawly because they're smaller and they like to crawl up the darn walls and ceilings and stuff. Idiots.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're
This
annoying.
thing it followed us all night throughout the building.
Mm-hmm.
And no offense to anybody else that's investigated it, but I will never go back. It's just that pure and simple.
Sounds like my kind of place.
Tara, do you have anything
You would
to
have too
say?
much fun.
Tara. Tara, there you go. There you go.
My mic wouldn't I apologize. Very interesting. I've actually died twice in my lifetime. Once I went up and once I went down. So they were both pretty awesome experiences, to say the least. My son was approached by several priests at his high school and said that he was given a gift and they were trying to get him to become an exorcist and a priest, and he said no. So he chose the military instead. And I said, well, you can use your gifts of hearing evil to listen to the enemy.
Mhm.
And he's planning on doing that.
Yeah, in the Middle East they use demon warfare. I have
That's
come across too many people that were in Iraq and they in the Middle East with problems. They have demonic attachments. One poor guy, he was He couldn't have been more than like 35. And he was flipping houses and things like that. And he was always end up with scratches down his leg or down his back, 3 scratches. And then he went into this one house to flip it, and it was horrible. It was horrible. He said he just got attacked. It was bitten. He was thrown. He was burned, and that's when he contacted me. And I went up and I talked to him, and I said there was a pentagram here. I said somebody did satanic rituals. And he said, I painted over that. I said, it don't make no difference if you paint over it. I can see it, and they can see it. It don't make no difference whatsoever. It's the action and the intention behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So I cleared that out for him, and he never had another problem. So
That's cool. How about you, Eric?
I was about to say, do you think that might have something to do with the high suicide rate in returning soldiers?
yeah, like I said, they do demonic warfare. They use their priests and stuff to, create these things and attach them.
See that's since my guardian angel, the angel I work with is Uriel. I work with him, and he's big, bad, and he kicks butt. You know what I mean? There's no ifs or doubts about it. But your story is very, very interesting. So whenever you go out on an investigation, right, or anywhere, how do you know they're around? Do you just see them? Is there like a specific smell? Do you go? How do you know
I know
it's a demon?
I know they're coming before I even get there. I can tell a demon. I can tell a demon coming years ahead of time, and I
Okay.
acknowledge it. I acknowledge it's coming and just let go of it, because you can't hold on to things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just let go of it. But yeah, I know before I go what's there.
Okay.
Are there any places you won't go?
No, I don't like spiders.
You don't like spiders.
I don't mind snakes. I just don't like spiders. And the
Spider,
creepy
snakes, take your pick.
the creepy crawlies try to show themselves as spiders, and I'm like, really? Bite me. I see you in your true form. You can't do that to me.
Michael, do you have anything to say, bud?
Yeah, thank you, Sean. I'm intrigued in many ways, maybe because of my own self. Intuition, gut feelings, waking up with downloads on knowing how to fix things that I never touched before in my life. I could be faced with it the day before, not totally understand it. And I'm talking big machinery and stuff. And, your job tells you, well, we need this fixed. You're the only guy we got. What are all your suggestions? Well, the next day I would fix it. I don't know how. I also woke up, and here's something funny about the mirror. I've had dreams, but not many, and not day after day, where I was guided to a mirror, and when I looked in it, it wasn't my face.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, when you bringing that up, I'm not saying that I'm comparing apples to oranges here, but I've experienced a lot of the things that you have, experienced.
Because you have a warrior. You have the soul of a warrior angel.
I don't know what I have, but I do know that something guides me in a pattern to what I do, gets me through everything in ways. And I just thought I would bring that up to you because I feel there's validation to how I am and ways to how you experience things. Even at one point, one of the experiences that I had, astral projection, whatever you want to call it, I was having those as well, where I felt like I was above everything. I didn't always remember what I was visualizing, but I knew I was up in the air. I was in spirit. My energy, my consciousness was rising, something. And then one time, and I kept notes on this and mental notes. I woke up one morning and my arms were fatigued. And I remembered parts then of my experience from that night. And for me, it was like I was a bird. My arms were fatigued. I felt it all. I shouldn't have. It was like going out and throwing hardball the fastest you could. You know how you just put all that anxiety into your shoulder, you basically whip yourself out. So these were experiences that I had. But the one mirror instance, and I don't know why, it was go to a mirror and look. And it wasn't me as who I am, who you're looking at. I wasn't a
Right.
bad looking guy in the mirror, but you know,
They all
I
say that.
didn't know who this person was. The
That's
funniest
the
part,
warrior
yeah, the
angel within
funniest
you.
part was when I woke up, I had prints, not scratches, but in my skin, as if something held me the whole time and just guided me through this experience. And I still try to make common sense to what that is. And by what you're saying in ways, it just opens up my mind even more. Maybe it'll help me get better consciousness and ideas of what I experienced. I don't know. So I just want to thank you for what you shared.
Yeah, you're a warrior. Your soul belongs to the warrior angel Loki, Lokie.
Loki
And he is no, not that kind.
That's funny you say that because there was a dog named Loki that loved me to death.
But
Not
that
a joke.
was,
And Sean, you know whose dog
yeah,
it was,
that's who
probably.
your soul belongs to.
Yeah.
And he was a every warrior angel is handpicked, and there are over 300,000 warrior angels in physical form today, and there are over 3 million of them in spirit form walking the earth, and there are 7 of us archangels in the world today, and I know them all. They, we're drawn to each other. I have one. I know one in France, one in Italy. There's 2 in the United States. There's 2 in the UK. It's just a matter of they're drawn to me, and I let them know who and what they are, and I help them to understand, because they have a lot of abilities and a lot of power, and they don't know where it comes from or what they're supposed to be doing or how to utilize it. So it's up to me to help.
In more ways than probably one.
Yeah.
So this is a question for everybody. When you guys were out on investigations, how many demons have you dealt with on, care to share your stories on demon, investigations?
I honestly have not encountered any.
You haven't?
None. We've encountered dark spirits, but nothing that I would say is demonic.
Okay.
And
See, to me, demonic is like a dark spirit too. You know what I mean?
And
That's
for whatever reason, in the instances we have, it seemed to avoid me, whatever they were. It didn't want anything to do with me.
Tara?
Yeah, usually get the earthbound spirits that are negative.
Tara?
Oh.
There we go.
There we go.
Onyx, just a cryptoid.
What's that?
No demonic spirits, just a cryptid and grumpy old men and women.
Yeah.
What was the cryptid?
My son and my former paranormal team and I all went out to Blue Mist Road, and my son saw and we both heard the Wendigos.
The Wendigo. Did you see them?
He saw them. We both heard them. They were trying to jump his girlfriend because she was the most open.
Okay, now,
Interesting.
There's a lot of coyotes out in that area, right?
Yep.
Okay. Do you think it could have been a pack of coyotes that?
For John to describe it, it was before we even knew what a Wendigo was. And where I grew up was in the middle of nowhere, so we've seen coyotes, plus he hunts with his father. So he knows what coyotes sound like. It's a noise I've never heard before, and he's never heard before. And he drew a sketch of what it was, and when we got home, we looked up what it was. And that's how we found out it was a Wendigo.
Because I've been out to Blue Mist Road, and it's not so much with me seeing or hearing the Wendigo, but down there at the crossroads, right there at the crossroads. If you make a left and go up the dirt path, you'll see a house up there. And to me, there is a lot of negative activity up there at Blue Mist Road. With Blue Mist Road, it used to be an old farm, before they actually made it North Park. And they did. There was a lot of KKK going on back then. There was a lot of witches that Satanists would go back there. So I mean, to me, people get tired of hearing me go into Blue Mist Road, but to me, that was like if you really wanted to get an experience, that's where to go here in the Pittsburgh area. How
When
about
we
you,
go-
Drake?
Well, aside from that one that I've seen, that I saw there in Cleveland, um, I've had two cases brought to my attention, and at the time I had to refer them to the Catholic Church, mainly because I didn't have the knowledge I do now. But that's about it. But Tara, I got to admit I'm interested on that Wendigo case. That's rather intriguing. Um, I've had close encounters with cryptids too. Um, in and around Newcastle. Um, one that pretty much made me and a colleague in the field, Jay Blackburn, pretty much just look at each other, throw our cigarettes out, and run back into the building and lock ourselves in. Because we had three guesses as to what it was, and none of them really. I didn't have any silver bullets. Let's put it that way.
No, you saw the werewolf. How about you, Eric? You were going to say something, buddy.
I was saying, when are we going back to Blue Mist Road?
Well, whenever it gets warmer,
Yeah.
we're going to go. I'd like everybody to go. And Mike, whenever you're in Pittsburgh, buddy, come on out with us. It's a good experience.
You just let me know when, Sean. I'm all for it.
All right, that's cool. Mike, I know you did some paranormal investigations. Have you ever experienced a dark entity or a demonic being?
Me?
Yeah,
Of course. I sent you pictures of one of them.
right.
Yeah, I don't have to go anywhere to experience things. I don't know why. I really don't know why. I can stay within closeness to wherever I'm at, and it's in ways I'm some type of magnet. I don't know. It's like I'm half in this world, half out when
Mhm.
it comes to and I haven't seen everything by far. I haven't experienced everything, but UFOs experiences, contact experiences, that way. Ghosts, um, communicating with orbs and making them become intelligent to me to the point, which, by the way, Sean, I apologize. I tried to send you videos of that experience where they were being told from another young lady that was connected to uh, that particular evening. And she said, come land in Michael's hand or on his finger, and they would do it.
Hmm.
So these energies would come. I can describe these energies as nothing. I mean, I really want to be honest here. I didn't feel anything from them. I didn't have fear. I was open. I was just normal as I think anybody could be in that moment. But they did show intelligence to me. When we called them in, they came in. As they came through the walls, they illuminated more brightly. Once they penetrated the matter, they seemed to dim down, and they were just everywhere. And I felt like I was in a room where you would be in a weird possibly movie with like butterflies flying all around you in some way. That was the experience that I had that particular night, but nothing demonic in a way where I ever had the hairs raise up on the back of my neck, besides the UFO encounter thing where it just appeared over me because I played with that light. I don't know why it happened, but it did. And I do look forward to a young lady who offered to, I don't know if it's a good thing to do, but do, hypnotic regression. I could have missed things that night. And that's my biggest curiosity. Did I? And if I did, what were they? This happened up in Armstrong County, by the way. I think we have somebody in the room that's near Newcastle, you said. So just to give you an idea, I'm Carn City, where I experienced that. But yeah, just taking pictures. Also, my wife experienced many of the same things where she took a picture um, uh, on our property and it came back in a red orb of a heart on Valentine's night. And again, collecting these types of pictures and phenomena like this, I've been able to do. But seeing things in a peripheral vision, yes, you know. But this isn't about me, and I feel like I'm explaining myself. This is about this young lady and you guys. So I'm going to stop on that part. And thank you for letting me speak, Sean. I appreciate it.
You're
Um,
welcome.
no, I've never had anything where I ever, encountered something where it created fear, and I'm not, and I hope I don't. Although I think I could handle it if I did, and I don't think I'd run out like a paranormal show out the door, screaming and hollering. But
Michael, I have to admit that I'm rather intrigued. When you were talking about the orbs that you asked them to touch your fingers and they did, I'd
yeah,
love to see that video. That would be, because I mean, how many? And Eric, I know you can back me up on this. How
yeah,
many of us are told that orbs are not real? They're just dust or
Yeah,
whatever have you.
that was my next question, right?
They're the low. They're
I'm
the
getting good
low.
in my old age, Sean.
They're the low energy manifestation, most of them, of human souls. If you see a blue one, it's an angel.
All
If
I
you,
see are like there's a restaurant up here in Pittsburgh called Eaton Park, and they have smiley cookies. And at Restland Cemetery, we didn't see the smiley cookie one. It looked like a really angry smiley cookie. It was orange and it was mean. And I was like, whoa. And that was my first investigation out there. But June, I'd like to get back to you a little bit. You want to share some of your experiences on some of the investigations that you have been on?
in 2017, I went to the UK and I stayed in London, Greenwich Village. And I had a friend that lives in Florida, and she's like emailed, she sent me a message on Facebook and said, "Hey, give me a call." And I'm like, "I can't. I'm in London." So she said, "Well, maybe you can help this woman." And I'm like, "Okay, send me the information." So she sent me the information on this woman, and I emailed the woman and said, you know, "If you need help, give me a shout." And I went off to the Tower of London and had a good time. I came home to the hotel afterwards, and there was a message waiting for me. It said, "I don't normally answer messages like this, but you know, can you help me?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I said, "Send me a picture of the location, and I'll see what I can do while I'm on the treadmill." So I went and got on the treadmill, and she sent me the picture of the location. And she didn't tell me anything about it, which I don't. I want people not to tell me anything about it. But I said, "This, I got what I got was it was a medieval women's prison from the era that I was seeing the people in the location, and there were several demons in it, and they were in the walls, they were in the ceilings, they were in the floors, and they were keeping these souls trapped there." And I'm like, "Okay, so we need to remove these demons and close the portals that are there so that we can send these people home." So I did that, and I got a message from her to give her a call. So I called her, and she says, I've got this celebrity medium coming in." And I'm like, "Okay." And she has said the name of uh, Christopher Fleming, Chris Fleming. And I'm like, "Yeah, I know him." And she's like, he doesn't deal with negatives. And so he's coming tomorrow. I told her, I said, don't worry about it. There's nothing left. I said, tell him it's okay. He can walk. He can go into this place was called the Cage. And so he went in the next day, and she sent me a message back saying, he said that it was clear that there was nothing left in there. I'm like, I know, I do good work. What the heck? You know, if I say I'm going to do something, I say I'm going to do it. And that was the first time I cleared it. I had to go back a second time in 2018 when I was over there, and she was using this home, that she was using the Cage for paranormal investigations, and she was charging money for people to come in and investigate. Well, somebody brought in, the spirit board and did a seance, and so that started the activity all over again because they just left the door open, so to speak. And then so I had to go and clear it out. I physically went there this time to clear it out and got it all cleared. But I told her, I said, you better sell this thing. I said, I wouldn't let people come in here with spirit boards and doing seances and stuff. I said, that's asking for trouble.
Before we go on, I want to say hi, people in our chats. Hi, Tony. Hi, Mike. Hi, Kathy, Brian, Abe. Welcome to our show. Welcome. If you have any questions for any of us, Tony does have a question. Maybe any of y'all can answer this. Hi, Stacy. How are you? What about the different colors of orbs? Red, yellow, blue, or green? Does anybody know what the different colors of orbs that you see?
Red's usually negative. Blue is angelic, and the other colors are more human, earthbound spirits, low energy manifestations of them as well.
Damn.
I've only
Boyd,
seen
welcome.
green and white.
Yeah,
Green to me is an animal one, because that one picture I have where we caught the we call him the preacher man. It's the shadow of a guy that looks like a priest. There's a green orb right at the bottom of him, right at his feet, and that's where the lady's house that we were at, that's where she buried her dogs. And I've also seen green orbs where, the animals were put to rest in the ground. So I do believe that green is more for animals and stuff like that.
And I'm going to argue with you on that one, Sean, because there was an incident. I know Tara and Erica know about me and the Carnegie Library with my team down at Homestead, but we had an incident where I got a K2 hit. We had an AVP that we caught, and we caught a green orb on camera, all at the exact same time. But that EVP was Andrew Carnegie. So I don't know if that was him, or maybe you were all right. I don't know. I'm not going to say that was definitively him. I'm a big proponent for arguing about orbs in favor of them, but at the same time, there's got to be circumstantial evidence along with it.
Absolutely.
I wonder if Andrew Carnegie had a beloved dog or something that he used to keep with him.
Could have had a trained parrot. Was mocking you.
What do you have, Drake? What kind of animal do you have?
Me? I don't know.
No, Andrew. Andrew.
Oh, Andrew. I was gonna say I don't have a pet anymore, unfortunately. Andrew, I don't know. I do believe he had a dog. I may be wrong. I'll never claim that I am an expert about him. Just like in the field, I can never say that I'm an expert, because we're always constantly learning everything. We're constantly learning things. Right. So anybody that claims that they're a paranormal expert, I take them with a very big deer like a salt, because there's just no such thing. There is just no such thing.
There's always more questions than answers. It doesn't matter what we're discussing in paranormal, but that's the factual truth. Besides, people people that can have testimonies of what they've seen. I wanted to just bring up something to you because I know Homestead pretty well, and the Pinkertons and all that stuff that happened at the waterfront. There was a lot of casualties, a lot of deaths, and there's a lot of stories and vibes that reflect around the police station as well as the library and some of the waterfront areas. And it to me, I spent a lot of time there, and it seemed to have a very high frequency of energy, but I wouldn't say it's of positive. It was more of sad energy, especially when we walked down by the river and so forth, because I used to go down by there. I actually had property over there in a bar.
Okay.
Of all names for the bar, it was called Headhunters Rock Tavern. I'm sorry, I was a kind of a young kid rock and roll kind of thing. But I mean,
no, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
That is actually kind of cool.
And I used to get all these calls from everybody looking for a job because there was a company out there that somehow doppelgangered my name, and they were using it to find people jobs. And I would answer at Headlands Rock Town, "Hey, I'm calling about that job." And I was like, "Hello?" But anyway, inside the bar, I had a lot of, and again, I don't know if I'm a magnet or what, or I'm just drawn to areas of where there's something out there like that. But there's been a lot of investigators over there that that I know locally that are young, but trying their best, who have made claims to the same thing, like as what you just presented, that they thought they were in touch with, like, and possibly Andrew Carnegie. My thought was, when I talked to them, the first thought I had, and usually when I react to something myself the way I am, I go with the gut feeling. The first thing I thought, it was an attachment of a worker that wanted to just care for this building, that loved it that much, and that was just my intuition on the matter, and my experience of what was going on, because I've been in that building and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, and Eric and I know, mutually know an entity, and I'm not going to, again, not going to put a location out on Front Street, but there's one entity up at a place that Eric and I both worked at. That guy has a definite affinity for the building that he worked in when he was alive. And probably some of my best paranormal encounters happened at that building with that guy, to the point, and I know Sean and I've talked about it before, the guy actually made contact with me on a regular basis just to ask me how my son is with his medical condition. But the area of Homestead, even back before Carnegie opened up the steel mills, that was a highly contested area with the Native Americans. Even, going so far back as just up the river, the Braddock expedition went through that area. Right. And, just below where Kennywood sits right now, is where General Braddock met his doom. So that whole area, it would stand to reason as to why there's such a melancholy energy there. Certainly, of course, all the injured and killed of the Homestead Steel Strike of 1892 doesn't help. Where the police station used to be, they took some of the wounded there, from what I understand from local historians. So that might explain some of the activity inside that building. The library wasn't there. It wasn't built they didn't break ground on it for another 4 years. But there's also, and call me crazy, but I think there may be a ley line running through the area too. If you combine a ley line with the natural energy that the river, the Monongahela River, puts out, it's highly prone to be a paranormally active area.
Yes, that's why I was putting that up. That is actually the strike, and that came right from the library.
Wow. Hey, June.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it is wild. June, do you go out with other people that use equipment?
Yeah, I do. I have my own group called Ghosts and Girls Paranormal, but we specialize in demonic removals. And I was a member of a group called Northwest Paranormal Investigative Team, and I'm still a member of them, but they don't go out as much as they used to. But they would always bring equipment with them, millimeters, the tape recorders for EVP, all kinds of REM pods, all kinds of things like that. And that's fine, but it's not my thing. I'll take a tape recorder with me, and when I'm doing removal, and usually I'll catch a recording of the demon screaming or something like that. It's just a matter of pulling them out.
Okay.
But yeah, they use equipment, and I see nothing wrong with it. I mean, it gives you something physical for the clients that you're helping. And like I said, it's for me, the physicalness is when they're not being attacked. When I remove, is they're not being attacked anymore. There's no more negative energy there. There's no more heaviness there. Everything stops.
Tara, how about you? Would you rather go out on an investigation with equipment or just with a bunch of people who are spiritual and use what they do?
I prefer vibes because it can't be corrupted like computer systems can. I've seen way too many people in groups that I trusted fix things to make it TV show worthy, to make it like Mr. Glasses on the one show. I prefer like real vibes and nothing that can be played with.
But when you're out there and you want to deal with vibes, okay, and every one of us know that a bad spirit or an entity could manipulate it as something good. What's not making you think that it could be a bad one or a good one? How do you know the difference?
Well, with me, I do let some people use paranormal equipment like a K2 meter and different things like that, to see if the vibe is the same. But I trust my instincts because I've seen both and I've experienced both, and I deal with both on a daily basis. When my son's with me, I know he knows the difference as well. And there are several members of the team I used to be on that I trust implicitly. But it's basically my son and I that I know through the history of my family that we deal with light and dark, no difference.
How about you, Eric?
Let's just say you could have bought a used car with the equipment I have.
Did you go all out and spend it?
It's been 12
How
years.
good of a used car?
Not a great one, but
I'm just teasing. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I'm big on the equipment just because I'm a tech geek and I like fancy toys. I get what Tara's saying about the corruption. I won't investigate with someone that's going to do that. If I go somewhere and something happens, I'm going to spend 10 times longer than needed to try to debunk it. And I think that's partially because I don't want to put in the effort to actually work on any gifts that I might have. I have a lot of precognition, deja vu things that have happened to me in my life. I currently have a situation where a friend she said, I'm not quite ready to tell you something. And I told someone else, I bet that's going to be this. So when she does tell me, I have a bet going that I know what it is. I don't know if that's an intuition thing or however that goes. But I do like the fancy toys. But sometimes it is just best to sit there by yourself and let the energy come to you.
I like K2 meters and EVPs. That's all I use. I'm old school, really.
K2s and EVPs, your digital recorders are good. Thermal cameras are what I have. SLS, the night vision. And before sorry to interrupt you, before I stop speaking.
Well, don't be sorry.
Andrew Carnegie did have a dog named Laddie. I looked it up.
Okay, so maybe that green orb was Laddie there, Drake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, very well, maybe. I mean, I won't mention the other television show that was there and the whole reason that my team even got involved at the library, but they had a dog on the stage, and we were standing right about the same spot where that dog was, so maybe that was him. But the EVP was a Scottish male's voice saying YouTube there, put your stuff down. And years later, I came across a recording of Andrew Carnegie, and the voice matched. So I have no doubt. Eric, I don't know if you were there that year that we had Banshee Paranormal there, and we made contact with Andrew Carnegie through their obelisk, and calling me a less than intelligent person. But
I don't believe I was there for that.
no, I think you started with us there the year after that happened. But Eric is constantly, showing off his new toys every time he picks up something new to me. It's like, okay, where did you get that? Daddy wants,
And he's not even talking about paranormal toys.
So June,
so many different intonations
What's
to
your
that one, and
favorite-
none of them good.
what's your favorite piece of equipment?
The digital recorder. It'd have to be a digital recorder.
Do you go through any kind of, I hate the word ritual because it sounds like we're doing, or is there anything that, and this is for everybody here, how do you go by preparing yourselves going into an investigation?
If you're going to an investigation, the first thing you have to do is you have to ask for God's guidance and protection, because every time, which irritates me, every time people go and investigate, they open a portal. You got to close the damn portal. I have closed so many thousands of them. It's ridiculous. You go in, you ask for protection, you ask for, for God's blessing. You go do your investigation. When you're done, you thank him and you close the door. You see in your mind the door closing. Because if you leave it open, all kind of things going to go in there. It'd be like you leaving your front door open in the middle of the night. You never know who's going to come in there.
How about anybody else? Go ahead, Drake.
And I'm going to echo some of what June said. The first thing I do, and depending on where I'm at, first and foremost, if it's just like a haunted location like the one in Newcastle, my team and I stand outside. We'll say a prayer for protection, for clarity in communication, and then we go in and investigate. I never really did think about closing it afterwards. That's a good point, June. I'm going to have to start using that. Now, like if we're down in Bel Air or Moundsville area, that the burial mound is right there. Being part Native American myself, I go down and I make an offering to the four directions at the mound. We've actually done peace pipe ceremony at the mound. The one year, just to ask for protection and for the blessing of the area's spirits, to keep us from harm. And every time we do that, we seem to get a really, really good response or have a really good evening. We just actually did one in one place. I will mention a name because the activity is just really, really decent. Is the new Ross House in Bel Air, Ohio. It's literally 1,000 feet away from the Bel Air house. But we went and I did my traditional dedication and prayer at the mound, and we got some really, really decent evidence on SLS.
Okay. Now I have a question from Abe. Maybe I can get Michael to answer this, or anybody wants to chime in on it. And Kathleen Wilson says one of you needs to change the battery in your smoke detector. I think I keep hearing the beep.
The chirping.
Yes,
So,
she
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Hi, Kath. Yes, you do. It's
It
my
might,
place.
I might be guilty.
I just changed mine like 2 weeks ago.
I
So
might be guilty.
It's,
Abe, how are you, brother?
I'm guilty as charged.
Abe says, has a question. This is start off with Mike, and then everybody can chime in. What do you think of paranormal teams using Ouija boards for investigations? Mike, you
Oh,
got
ho, ho.
Well, first off, I don't like them. I don't know why, but I just don't like them. I call it my sixth sense, and that's my tool in investigating. It's all about, my intuitiveness and my perception. I can see darker than black. I don't know why. And I get these gut feelings. Some people say they get the goosies, hair raises up. I don't do that. Although equipment is available, especially when you have a daughter who is into it. And I bought in her everything that I possibly could that would help her. And if I ever needed something, it's there. And I have things in the boxes I've never even opened. I want to, I just haven't. It's a time thing. Life directs us that way. But me, I'm not a fan of them because exactly of what exactly June has said. People open things they don't know how to close. And when I wake up, I don't protect myself per se because I'm going to do something. I do it when the eyes open. When the eyes open, I then let the consciousness for myself. And I'm cloaked for that 24-hour period. You know what I mean? That's just how I
yeah,
feel about it. But again, I wouldn't walk into something that is reported demonic without somebody that does. I would need somebody like June that has more experience. Bottom line. I don't deep dive into that. I've never had to deal with it, thank goodness, but I do know I deal with things. So me, a Ouija board, I'm going to pass to the next person. I just say no. I wouldn't even use them to try to communicate in any way because we have enough of technology out there now that protects us, that does not open portals.
anybody else want to chime in?
yeah,
Oh yeah. Eric, you want to go first, or you want me to?
you can go first.
Okay. Um, we have one major rule on my team, and that's if I catch you playing with a Ouija board on an investigation site, you're immediately removed from site and the team. Um, and it's because of just what Michael said. There's a lot of people that think they know all, be all, say all when it comes down to using a board, um, and nothing's further from the truth. They don't. A Ouija board. I don't think they're evil, and this is coming from the occult side of my studies. It's not so much as the tool as it is the person. I mean, you take a look. During your intro, you're talking about conspiracy theories and the government and everything. Everybody trying to ban the AR-15 and what they call assault weapons. It's not the tool; it's the person behind it. It's the intention. But with a Ouija board, if you don't know the correct prayers to say before you open it, before you even touch the planchard, the planchard to the board, and you don't know how to close it, you're asking for a heap of trouble. And it's like you have a glass of acid sitting there, and do you really want to drink it, or do you want to just not touch it? It's better to not touch it in the long run.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Eric.
I was gonna say, out of all the public places I've gone to investigate, no Ouija boards is in the rules of all of them. And
No, I can think of one, Eric. I can think of one. The Grand Midway Hotel.
well, but it's not like these places want less activity.
Right.
They don't want that there. It's not even just the person. It's also being good or evil. It's being incompetent. It's being ignorant. They don't know what they're doing. I'm very certain that I know where the brain is on a person, but I don't know how to operate on it. So I'm not going to perform brain surgery just because I watched every episode of House. It's a careless toy. And like Michael said, we have all this technology. I don't have to go, is there anyone here? If you are, move this planchette. Here's my recorder. Talk into it if you want.
Well, wasn't even using equipment, June, would like you to answer this. Even using an EVP or those things that cross and any type of electronic device. Thanks, bud. It's something like working with a Ouija board, but not with a Ouija board, correct?
Yeah. It opens a portal anytime. You could be standing in your living room doing an EVP session, and it'll open a portal. My opinion of a Ouija board is it's a tool. It's no different than a crystal ball or dowsing rods or anything else. It's the intention behind the use of it. If your intention is for good, then you will get good. If your intention is to summon a demon, you're going to get a demon. It's one of the things I learned on the other side is that thought becomes reality in the dark realm and the light realm. And it's the intention behind the thought that gives it power.
Yeah, I can agree with you, June. But at the same time, in my experience, it comes down to the careless play with a Ouija board. If somebody doesn't know exactly what they're doing, it leaves that portal wide open. And we had that happen at the Grand Midway Hotel out there near Altoona, Johnstown area. We found out inadvertently that there was a bunch of college kids who wanted to play with a Ouija board inside the building while smoking marijuana, which, from what I understand, they all got in trouble for. But we were there the night right after them, and we had so many problems. It wasn't funny.
Yeah, because the portal wasn't closed.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also when you're using the board, you're creating an energy,
right?
And if there's something malicious on the other side, and it gets a taste of that energy, it's going to follow it back through and wreak all kinds of havoc.
Always. It's the driver behind the car.
Exactly. Tara, how about you? And then we have to go to a commercial break. Tara?
Sure. Real quick, Mike, KC Pizza. I grew up in Shakora. But anyway, I was taught by the master, you touch a Ouija board, you're out. In my groups, if people want to use them, it has to be the right person. And they have to know what they're doing, because I know a handful of people, maybe 2 or 3, that I would trust to use one. And, they would have to know how to close it. And, our other rule was no drugs or alcohol too. So, you just have to be careful what you do.
All right. We got to go to the commercial. I want to thank Carnation for sponsoring the second hour of Chasing Prophecy. And also, since it's a commercial break, my show, Into the Night, with Sean Kelly, comes on at 10 o'clock on UPRN Radio 105.3, 107.7 out of Mississippi. I'm going to have Frater. What's his last name?
Crow.
Yeah, Crow.
Frater Crow on my show, and I'm really looking forward to it. So if you're not doing anything at 10 o'clock at night, hey, Doreen, how are you? If you're not doing anything at 10 o'clock Eastern time, you know what? Come and listen to my show. That would be sweet. I'm really looking forward to this Frater Crow. Honest to God, I am. But back to our show. Stacy Dunkel has a question here. From your experience, do prisons and buildings of the like seem to have more instances of demons or entities holding souls or spirits hostage or collecting them because of the negative impact of the people held there?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to find your most demons. They like to hang out in hospitals, sanitariums, prisons, care facilities, anything like that. But you'll find them. But basically, you can find them walking the streets if you look hard enough and long enough. But they have a tendency, they will hold on to an earthbound, and they utilize them like, when somebody lays down the black salt around a location that I create, and they can't get through it. The demons can't get through it, but they'll send a human soul through it to cause problems. That's how they work. If they can't get through, they'll find a way, one way or another. They'll get a human soul in there, because the black salt won't stop a human soul. It'll only stop demonics. But yeah, they have a tendency to gather souls.
My friend Tony has a question. For everybody. He wants to know, how do you close a SB7? I want to think that's spirit board.
Spirit box,
So,
yeah.
That's a spirit box. How do you close it?
yeah.
You turn it off.
Yeah, turn the power off and take the batteries out.
Yeah, that's. If it's still going after that, please send us video.
If I may just say, I agree that that's one way to get around the whole scenario. But there's always a case, even of a good attachment with a bad attachment. And my objective is to always say thank you for your cooperation and just being courteous, because I do believe if there's intelligence communicating, they will understand that you were there for the good. Something I want to ask everybody what your feeling on this is. Like with negative impacts coming up. And maybe Sean, you even want to make a comment to this, but do you think when people really walk in to this new, because a lot of people do walk into it new, and they want to experience something. They could take the easy route and just maybe go into a DMT experiment or something if you want to go into a different realm, but they choose to do this, and I understand that. But a lot of them walk in with fear. And to me, when you walk in with fear, you're a magnet. What do you guys feel about that?
I totally agree with that. And we all know that it depends on the energy that you're releasing. If you are fear, the spirits are going to feed on that tremendously. They're just going to feed on it, and it just gives them more energy, I could say. And it's just not fear, it's sorrow, it's hurt, any kind of negative feeling or any kind of feeling that you have going on, they're attracted to it. But fear is the biggie. Anybody else want to jump in?
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
Let's say arrogance would be another one that you don't want to go in there with, because you watch all these shows and the hosts and everything say things like, "How dare you hide from me? Show me yourself." The antagonistic, provoking. You just go in there, and they're. Can I swear on this?
Yeah.
They're scared shitless when they walk in there. They're just putting up a brave front, and to me, that's even worse, because they're going to do something really stupid unintentionally because they want to prove that themselves or the people they're with. And it is part of a little bit of a growing experience. People that have investigated, I am a bit of a ball breaker, but it's reactive, not proactive. And that's what I get with the new people. If you want to go in there like it's your first day at a new job. That's the best advice I could give someone brand new when they're going to a location. Or even someone that is not new but going to a brand new location. Treat it like it's your first day at a new job.
Thanks, Eric. This is for you, June. I'm going to give you this question, okay? Has anybody experienced magnetic or static energy when a demonic presence is near during a investigation in which you can hear different dialect or languages being spoken?
Static. People will feel, the air will feel heavy, the air will feel charged. And what they speak is usually what you're hearing. Most people hear is English or whatever language that they're using. But I hear Aramaic. My brain is hardwired to interpret Aramaic. So the demons actually speak in that language. So I hear that, while others will either hear words, growling, or a high-pitched frequency.
I hope that kind of like answered your question there, Abe. One more question that I would like to put out to the people here, and then we're going to talk about what we really need to talk about. Um, Whoa, everybody's leaving me. Oh, Lord.
I'll be here till the end.
Small
Okay.
bladders.
Gallbladders, okay.
Small bladders.
Yeah.
But what,
Fighting it.
even though we did ask this question before you answered it, if somebody, oh, this is for June, if somebody wanted to do and work with the demonic entities like you do, what do you tell the people that want to start getting into this?
I tell them, unless you have an archangel inside of you, don't even go there. Or a
Well, don't you
warrior
think
angel.
everybody has?
Or
Does anybody have an archangel? Everybody.
there are 7 in the world today,
Okay.
and I know them all. There are warrior angels like Michael, and that are trained on the other side to deal with the dark. But if you have just a common soul or an angelic soul, a common angelic soul, I would say no. And if you have any fear whatsoever, no, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
can't have any fear.
June, and I've had 2 separate psychics in 2 different locations a year apart say I'm a soldier of light. What's the difference?
Same thing, a warrior angel.
Okay.
I have a question. I think it's a logical one. In some of the research and biblical studies that I have participated in, one of the things that I think was referenced was the fact, like you, June, that you are living Ariel with June, and not as a split personality,
No,
but for a more higher purposeful mission while you're on
right,
this earth before you
right,
leave it, and then of course that soul will transfer.
right.
um, of everything that I understand from my researches. um, so my thought to you, and my question I guess would be on how you feel about this, that your presence with them is all for purpose, and if ever called upon, you will then become them,
Yeah, basically.
and then you will become a different type of angel warrior to possibly maybe save humanity in some way.
Once I cross again, then I'll be Ariel again. So while I'm here, my main job is to educate the world about negative entities and how they're affecting us, and to do removals.
You
That's
don't feel
Now,
that.
that you don't feel that there's any other objective to your purpose?
No, I've already been told by God there's no other. Those are the
okay.
two.
Okay.
Says,
Do
you
you
know, that
hold classes, or do you just wait for someone to come up and
I
ask
taught
you?
I taught a class at the Ghost Conference I just got back from on warrior angels. I teach classes. I mentor people that are, that are needing help with either they're a warrior angel and they don't know what to do and how to access it, or they need tools for protection. And I do mentoring on that. But I am going to start doing classes. When I retire, I was supposed to retire 2 months ago, but no more. But
You can't retire now.
there aren't any
Tell 'em.
nurses. I'm retiring from medicine. There's no nurses to take my place. That's the bad part.
How about you, Tara? What's on your mind?
I just had a question. Since there's warrior angels, are there healing angels as well?
Each warrior angel has their own special abilities. They have their own career, shall we say. There are strategists, there are healers, there are communicators, there are facilitators, and then there are the demon slayers.
Okay,
But
Is
they
it
all
and
but they all know how to fight the darkness, how to see the darkness, how to find it.
okay.
is that why
So, say like Ariel might have 4 or 5 different entities around him or her.
Uriel's a male, but he can have warrior angels with him when he does his stuff. Whenever I do removals and Ariel comes forward, it's not only her that's present, it's Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael as well. They work as a team, so
Okay.
it's a together thing. They're stronger together.
Well, doesn't Serial play a part to that, Regal? Or I can't pronounce it right. On the Archangels
Okay.
of the five. Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Serial, and I think it's Raguel.
The legion's comprised of Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Ariel.
Okay.
There are thousands of other archangels. Most of them, most people don't know their name.
Do you
Fair
think? Sorry. Do you think with people
Go ahead, Eric, please.
A soldier angel, warrior angel, different types of angels, that's part of them, that they don't pursue that? Do you think that's one of the things that could be causing so much strife with people?
It can. Eventually, a lot of people are born. People are born, and the warrior angel soul, part of it goes within the physical body, and it may be sleeping until it comes forward. Then you may be in conflict. People, if they suppress the warrior angel within them, they may get headaches, they may get physical problems due to that. But one way or another, the warrior angel is going to fulfill its duty in this lifetime.
Any other questions for June? Okay, everyone got quiet. Well,
I just want to say thank you for what you do, because we need support in this community. We really do.
Yeah, I do a lot of consulting. I have paranormal groups that consult with me regarding this events and things like that. But I don't have to be present to remove it. I can do it from a distance. So all I need is a
called
picture of the location.
remote dealing, right? Remote
removal.
Remote viewing, remote removal.
Okay.
Beam me up.
Yep, exactly.
So here's what part of the show that I wanted to talk about. Now, I don't know if everybody's on TikTok or not, but there has been a lot of crap going on with the paranormal TV shows. A lot of them being canceled. Some aren't. A is blaming B and B is blaming C, which C comes back to A. It's like one big crazy situation going on. And my question to my panel here, okay, what the hell's going on? And I'll start with Tara.
So what I've seen, there was a trio. The main person in there has glasses, and a guy broke off of the trio. From what we understand, we were told years ago it was to spend more time with his family and to pursue stuff closer to his house and travel less. So that always stayed above board until just recently. At the same time, this person in glasses mentored a younger group, and the younger group became extremely popular. They have over 800 million followers. And their show has been on for 5 or 6 seasons, and they're getting ready to be picked up for the next season. And all of a sudden they were blacklisted. And from after that, people started coming out of the woodwork saying that they had shows, and they got blacklisted after the person in glasses supposedly told management that if these people were on the specific channel he was on, that he was going to pull his shows. And the person that left on his own accord came out and said, yes, he's had 5 or 6 shows in the running. They did really good in the ratings, and they got blacklisted out of nowhere. And another member from another team that was on one of the shows, who has no interest in anything anymore because he's a tech geek and, you know, sells millions of dollars worth of equipment to a bunch of people, said yes, their show got blackballed once the guy in glasses said that if this was on TV, he was pulling all of his shows. So the sad fact of reality is I looked on all of the followings on YouTube and the ratings, and the guy in glasses show has really, really decreased in popularity. Now I can say, because I watch all of them, that the person in glasses has really changed. He has become extremely rude to his group. There was a season where he didn't even investigate with them, that he did so via computer and was very arrogant and derogatory towards them, to the point where if I was a member of his team, I'd tell him where to stick it. And this younger group became extremely popular. They didn't fake evidence, to my knowledge, and I watched it very closely. They brought a younger crowd in. My son absolutely loves the show, and he's very picky. You know, they're all kids, my kids' ages, and there are people my age, I mean, I'm in my late 40s, that love the show as well. And like I said, there was no reason to get blacklisted other than the fact that somebody would say something, because the popularity, the ratings were all there. So now it's a bunch of inner turmoil, like a group of people that I know here in Pittsburgh went through recently.
Okay. I know, June, you were smiling there when that question was brought up. What do you think is happening?
I think it's become all about the ratings.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's that much in the way of real, quote unquote, evidence. And some of the shows that are on, just some of the things that are said, they're, I can't name names, but some of the ones that are there, I wouldn't let my dog watch. I mean, they're just, it's not real, you know, and people coming into the field think that this is how it is. This is how it's, you know, this is real. This is, no, you haven't a clue. This is not real. So I really don't have much. I don't watch them. I'd rather watch the Animal Planet. Thanks very much.
I usually watch them only because that way I can predict the type of phone calls and emails I'll get where, save me, I saw this because I saw this on this show. Sean, you can attest to that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I watched The Man in Glasses for a little bit. I think maybe 2 shows or something. I was like, it got to go. You know what I mean? Eric, do you have anything that you want to add on to that?
Good comment.
And June said it's about the ratings, but he's losing his ratings, so I don't know what's going to happen there. I think it, along with the ratings, it comes down to contracts, where the money is coming from. Even if the ratings are down, if it's more expensive to buy them out than to like let them stay, even with the lower ratings, it's the worst part of any activity is when it becomes overly monetized.
Yeah.
And that's I looking at just professional sports. People complain about how much money those guys make. The owners make more. And I don't begrudge somebody putting their body and all that on the line for getting a fair market value. It's capitalism. It's pure capitalism at its core. It's, you know, I can demand $30 million a year because I can throw a football, you know, on a dime 50 yards 100 out of 100 times. Good for them. But they took a game that was pure and it's become so monetized that I can't even watch it anymore because it just looks so horrific when you see the egregious. And I'm mostly venting about things that have happened to my team, but egregious calls, non-calls, that sort of thing. And that's why I don't watch these shows, because it's I don't need that kind of entertainment, and that's all it seems to be, is entertainment. If I want to experience paranormal stuff, there's a cemetery a block over from my house. I could just walk over there, hopefully not be seen by the cops, because I don't know if it's allowed, and just investigate it. I don't need someone that wears a lot of bedazzled shirts and jeans and hipster glasses screaming into a camera for 45 minutes.
Okay, and Michael, real quick.
Sure. Okay. If you go back to the beginning, I think this network came in at the right time, and that was his build a platform kind of thing scenario. But if you go back in time, there was other departure that it had occurred, and so I kind of foreseen things, and with that anger thing and his demands, I don't, I want to protect the platform here. Demeaning, I don't know. He what a change. And when you look at the things, as some of the other guests have mentioned, there's been major changes. And my thought is this, somebody can do well, and maybe well was never good enough. And for me, anything that I do on my platforms, wherever they go. It's all for the next generation, for the children, for the future, and for the information that we can collect and gather, because we have a different ideology of what's right and wrong. I stand by that. I don't stand by in any way, shape, or form. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think at times he's made a lot of people skin crawl.
Well, real quick, I want to thank June for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
And you gave us a lot of nice info, and I would really enjoy your comments and sharing with the other group people on the show. And how can somebody reach you? Is there how can
they can go to my website, demonseer.com.
Just Demon Seer?
Demonseer.com, yeah. And it's all one word. And I'm on Facebook as well.
As Demon Seer?
As June Lundgren.
As June Lundgren. So if anybody out there wants to get a hold of June, go to our website, demonseer.com, and go see June London on Facebook. Again, thank you very much, June, for being on tonight.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it. You guys are wonderful.
Great meeting you.
Thank you.
All right. Nice meeting you.
Meeting
Take
you.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Now, see, whenever I brought that up, watching TikTok and looking on Twitter and stuff like that, what I saw through this whole ordeal was it just split the paranormal field wide open. Okay. Everyone dropped to his side. Everyone went to the glasses guy. The other ones went to the other dude's, side. And that's not what paranormal is. It's not what the paranormal community is about. Okay. It's all about being together. Okay. It's all about helping each other out. And it got me really mad to see all this crap going on between other paranormal investigators, different people. The hell with them on TV. I have my own say of what I think about the TV shows and stuff like that. That's my opinion, but I'm not going to bring it up on the show because I could get fired. But, it's like, but what it did was it separated a lot of people, like the Civil War. If you look at the Stacy Dunkel says, "I see you, Tara."
She's a good friend. Or I said, hey, she made this for me. It's skulls.
It's beautiful, but it's like a civil war between the Confederates and the Union. And in this whole shit just split everybody apart, you know. And I don't like that. Okay, I don't like to where maybe someone don't like the man in glasses, but others do. You know, instead of like calling each other out and calling them names and all kinds of crap. Why not just come together and sit down? And if you really seriously need to talk about it, talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk
Civil,
about it.
civil discourse has been gone for almost 2 decades.
Lord,
Right.
you named it right on. You hit it right on the head, brother. Abe says the TV shows are more of acting and fraudulent. They do it for the fear factor, and that's true. I agree.
Yep.
I mean, I had a show. It was called Raw Fear. Me and Marty Patterson. We took 8 kids, and they were kids. They were between ages of 18 and 22 that never did an investigation on the paranormal. And we did a 13 show season, even though we had to pay for the show, but me and him wanted to get it out. And whenever we had our show, the first thing I told these people was like, you know what? If I see you acting, you're gone. You know, I want people to really and understand what a true investigation is. Eric, you can agree. Terry, you can agree. Even Michael, you know what? There's times we go on investigations and don't get a damn thing, sitting in a dark room, totally black, asking all these questions, and we don't get no response, you know? But if you look at the TV shows, they always have to get something, you know?
And
Well, the number one thing you always taught too in your groups was to respect everybody, period.
Yeah,
If you don't respect everybody here, then you're out, period, and end of story. But you've also seen where you had to be on a specific show and they told you exactly what you had to wear.
yes. Yes, that was crazy, and I'll share that with
I'm
you.
surprised it wasn't even down to your underwear, for God's sakes. It was so blatantly weird.
There was a popular show on Friday nights. I can't tell you the name of the show. I'll get in trouble. But I got contacted by the producer from Hollywood, California, and he said, we would like you to be on this show. So I'm pretty good at what I do. And so I go to the shooting, I guess, and they told me what to say. They told me how to sit. They told me how to do it this way. They told me how to do something like this. But I'm thinking to myself, well, this shit ain't happening because it's not happening here. But I had to listen to the producers or I wouldn't have gotten paid, you know? And when we were there, when I was there at the house, the couple who were having problems, this is the total truth. Okay, here's the total truth. They made them hold hands 13 different ways in order to get a good shot. Now, and all, it just bothers me that, that they just come out for ratings, for whatever. Like, it just bothers me that the TV places do that.
What
Now,
bothers me more is when our own paranormal community here in Pennsylvania does the same thing. Where's the paranormal unity? Where is the fact that, when we talk bad about another group, it makes us look 100 times worse.
exactly.
So, like, yeah, I can understand a TV show has to be a certain way, but why not build each other up instead of tearing each other down? I mean, I've been invited by numerous paranormal groups to attend different things. I mean, even Drake's invited me to stuff. And Sean, when I broke off of Pittsburgh Paranormal with my own group, you invited us to stuff. So, like, why would you compete? There's no reason to compete.
I remember back I'm sorry.
I was gonna say
Yep.
one of the things, the sad thing the TV shows and their popularity have created are, and that's not just with paranormal, it's these people that like the TikTok challenges and whatnot. These people that want to go out there, guns blazing, and get famous right away. Like I don't have any real investigations lined up this year that I've pinned down, but if I go to one and something happens, great. If I go to one and nothing happens, oh well. I'm not going in there like I need to find X, Y, and Z so that I can submit it to someone like Glasses, and maybe I get on the show, or maybe I get my own show, or maybe I become, to monetize it. The intent is really bad with so many people, and their egos are out of control, and
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right.
it's everywhere.
Yeah,
Tina,
it's everywhere.
Tina's go.
I mean,
real
I've
quick,
had
Mike.
people follow me around wanting to know what I'm doing if I'm taking over a certain paranormal group. It's ridiculous.
I just say yes to everything. Are you taking over blah blah blah? Yes. What are you gonna do with it? I don't know. Something.
And I'll tell you guys, that's the reason why I retired. I got tired of all the paranormal people just going separate ways. And who knows what's going to come up. If I'm invited to go on an investigation, I am going to go on an investigation. Do I
You
like
better.
doing That's what I heard. Tina says we can all learn from each other, and that's so true. Michelle Town says, how about Penn State? Who was that little craphead up there in Penn State? We know who we're talking about, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He's
Don't say
in
the word.
sobriety, and he's
Don't-
actually in sobriety now, and he's becoming a psychologist.
Okay, good. We can't say his name, but I
Nope.
had a problem with Penn State.
But we are
too.
Penn State.
Yeah, right. You know, right. You know. All right, Michael. Last little bit for you to say, bud. We've got a couple minutes.
Well, I agree with what everybody's saying, and it's disgusting. It's like we're living amongst demons. Social anxiety is so high. The past couple decades, without a doubt, but I would say in the past few years, it's much worse. It doesn't matter if it's cryptozoology, I mean, or ufology, or ancient history. Everybody wants to be the next. Instead of concentrating on the facts of what we can share amongst each other, I'm more concerned about what I can hand. If you saw my floor behind me of my research and notes and just information that to me, that's what it's about. And I don't have a child that really wants it. I like doing this more than I like worrying about writing a book. And I could do that, but
dinner?
of course I'm not going to. But
Oh, no, you got time for
nevertheless,
lunch.
we're seeing it surround us. We're seeing it surround us everywhere. And it's shameful. The conduct of many people. And again, it's throughout. But again, everything that we do question that we don't have the answers for pertain to everything right now. It's all about paranormal in my mind, because we have factual proofs, I think, though, in the paranormal world and ufology over the abundance of them, besides people having experiences. But what they've seen is just as important as what everybody else has seen. What they say is just as important what everybody else says. Again, I've seen people wake up in the morning and their groups be gone. Like they changed the name and they took the thousands of people, and someone gets the short end of the stick. It's bizarre, but I've seen it. I've lived it. I know it happens. You can only pray for people, or just try to think positivity. Like, what can your next step be as we go through this? And I wish everybody the best to come out to the best. But again, Sean, like you, like me, and probably you guys probably would agree to this. What we can do to share, inviting each other, learning from each other, may actually give us more information, more data, the things that answer all the questions. Because I don't think we're ever going to get to the bottom of everything, but we have a better shot if we're in unity.
Exactly. And look who
Yeah,
popped back in. Dre,
sorry about that.
you got the last 3 minutes, brother.
Okay, I think my phone is possessed. As far as Mr. Glasses goes, or as I like to call him, the muscle-bound moron. Um, yeah, I did catch a little bit while I was backstage. Eric is absolutely right. They need to get rid of him. That person went to a haunted location to film some years ago in Newcastle. Walked in, saw himself in the reflection in the office, looked at it, went, and walked in and just took over the place. You know, and I have that on very good authority. Um, but as far as para unity goes, yeah, that when I run the Carnegie Library of Homestead, I split my team up amongst every other team that's there. And you, Sean, and Eric, you both know this firsthand. I put you guys with people from my team, from Sean's team, from Eric's team, because I want everybody to learn from everybody. You know, that's sort of my way of fostering para unity. We're even looking into having a para unity event here in the next few months, where it's going to be open to every single team in Western Pennsylvania to meet down at a certain location somewhere in Pittsburgh and hang out. And there's not going to be any equipment. It's just going to be us having fun,
Yeah.
and
We
getting
so
to
if
know
I
each
get a
other
new-
better.
So if I get a brand new toy, I can't bring it.
No,
You know,
no, no.
your type of toys, Eric, I don't want to know. But the whole thing of it is Sean, I've known you for how many years? Quite a few years. I talked to you earlier, and I told you that I consider you to be one of my mentors in the field. Eric, you and I have known each other for so many years. Tara, while we haven't hunted yet or investigated yet, I'm looking forward to it. And Mike, if and when you ever come back up to the Berg, I would love to hunt with you. But
I'm here.
long story made short, I know what happened to your team recently, Sean. And I heard Michael talking about there's going to be teams that all of a sudden you don't have any more team members. Been there and done that. It's happened to me twice, and I rebuilt my team several times based on that. In fact, we're celebrating 13 years this year as a team. My oldest member of the team, the longest member of the team, I should say, is my co-director, Ruthie, who's like basically my right-hand woman, my right-hand woman, but we're not afraid to tell each other, hey, you know what, you're wrong on this, or let's look at it from this light or this angle, and that's key thing. Key thing in anything is teamwork. Eric sent me two pictures. What was that? 2 days ago, Eric, on Sunday, for me to look at, and I ran stuff that because I have two proficiencies in the paranormal field. That's photograph analysis and EVP work. Eric has his talents that I've prevailed on him for. And I've sent stuff to Tara. I've sent stuff to you, Sean, for your opinion. And that's really what it's all about. Why the hostility? Why the hostility? I won't mention names because they may be listening, but there's somebody who did dirty by you, Sean. And the question is why? There's people that have come off of my team. They're spreading all kinds of BS rumors, about me and my team. And more specifically geared at me because they're mad at me for one reason or another. And I really don't care. Sticks and stones may break my bones. Words are never going to hurt me. And I've been guilty in the past of talking down on other teams, but that doesn't mean I was right. And it's like, was it June or Tara who said that you can talk down on another team, but that makes you look like absolute shit?
I think it was Tara. Yeah.
Was that you, Tara?
Yep.
Okay, sweetie. Good. I
Yep.
got somebody right.
Hey,
But,
listen,
you know,
you got 1 minute left. Now you got to get going here.
well, can I do a shameless promotion real quick?
Yeah, please.
Aren't all of yours?
No. My team is going to be at the Ross House on May the 6th in Bel Air, Ohio, and we are hosting a public investigation. There were 16 available slots. It's now down to 6, I believe. We're looking at having 2 possible special guests show up. One of which, if things work out, may be with us at the moment. I won't mention names. But you can go to either facebook.com/Oakmont for more information, or you can just directly email the Ross House on their website, therosshouse.org. Tickets are $60, and you people that attend will be getting fed as well as getting a chance to work with one of the better known teams here in Pittsburgh. So,
Thanks, Drake. Well,
of course,
we got to get going. I want to thank everybody who on my panel here tonight. I want to thank everybody who was listening to the show. Thank you for stopping in. Next week, please come back to Taste and Prophecy. We're on Tuesday nights on UPRN Radio, 105.3 New Orleans and 107.7 Mississippi. So thank you guys, ladies and gents. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everybody who put into the chat. And
thanks for having me, Sean.
Thanks. And before I go, do me a favor. Find somebody who you truly love and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. Okay? Because them 3 words, I love you, go a long way. And on that note, happy hunting. See you next week. Thank you.
Good night, brother. Good night, everyone.